and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, once again, welcome. I promised my table we'd be out of here by 10:30, so. Once again, welcome to the 2023 WLC Athletics Hall of Fame as we etch 6 more names, like I said, into that wall and award 6 more plaques. Before we begin with our induction ceremony, where we hear from the presenters and the honorees, I'd like to turn things over to Wisconsin Lutheran College President, Dr. Dan Johnson.
Good evening, everyone. Just first of all, big, huge congrats to some 6 really special athletes. You know, Wisconsin Lutheran College values so much this whole role of athletics as part of what we are. And, you know, part of our mission is just really preparing our students to be strong Christian leaders, and I don't know a better way to do that than what happens on a given field, a court, or a course. And so I think this is such a wonderful moment and a time for college. But what gives me greater joy is not what you all have done while you were here, but what you have and are doing by God's grace once you have left here. This whole WLC nation is a really blessed gig. And it has been so much fun to reconnect to folks from yesteryear. And I just wanted to be on behalf of our administration, just really congratulate all of you. This is a special moment, special milestone for our college, so well deserved. And I thank God for what you meant to us while you were here, but I'm even more grateful and thankful for what you are doing with your life as Christian servant leaders moving forward. So let's have a great night, and congratulations once again.
I also want to just take a moment and recognize a couple of individuals with us here tonight that deserve just a moment and a tip of the cap. And first and foremost, I want to begin with the 6 individuals who were tasked with taking the nominations for the Hall of Fame, going through them, the arduous process, and it is difficult, of discerning the 6 that we would have this year. These are the members, and if I could have you stand and stay standing until I run through all of you, our 2023 Athletics Hall of Fame Selection Committee, and that includes our Director of Cultural Diversity and our head softball coach, James Flagel, the Director of Corporate Partnerships, Aaron Sabald, our head women's volleyball coach and our senior woman administrator, Jenny Lee Voss, our Director of Athletics, Skip Noon, Hall of Fame class member 2014, a member of the inaugural class, Cheryl Pasbrink-Iwinski, and the Director of Athletic Communications and the man who spearheaded this event and put tireless time into it and has communicated, I'm sure, with most everybody in this room at some point in time, either now or when you were an athlete or some point in between, Adam Heinzen. Would you give these individuals a round of applause for their efforts? And the energy put into getting us to this event every 2 years. There are also a few individuals that I want to make mention of who are with us here today because they themselves, like Tanner, Matt, Tim, Ellen, Jacob, and Julie, have been honored and are already in this WLC Athletics Hall of Fame. I mentioned that right now there are 37 and we'll be at 43 by the evening's end. And we have, by my count, I have, there are a few of us, I'm not getting it home. There are a few of us. There's a Freudian slip. A few of them are with us here today, and I just want to make mention, if you would please stand, I mentioned her already, you get 2 stands, Cheryl. Cheryl Pasbrink-Iwinski, 2014, a member of the inaugural Hall of Fame class. Good to have you here. We have from the 2015 class, Zach Shields. Where's Zach? There's Zach. And one of our most recent inductees, our last ceremony, as we do this now every 2 years, Sean Essenberg is here. Sean Essenberg. things, ladies and gentlemen, is to be able to cultivate the athletic culture where your greats come back and your greats are a part of what the Warrior family and fabric is, like Dr. Johnson talked about. And it's so great to have them here with us, and many of a couple of our current Hall of Famers, soon to be inductees, are in the woven fabric of Wisconsin Lutheran College. It said 10 years ago, the 2014 class, 10 years ago, this dream, the concept became a reality in 2014. So this makes 7, as we're celebrating every other year at this point, our 7th Hall of Fame class. Words are important. This is my little spiel, and then we have the fun part. But words are important, and I really hope, and I said this last time too, but I'll say it every time I'm privileged enough to stand before you. Words like best and great, they're thrown around all the time. Great game, great job. Man, that was the best lasagna I've ever eaten. And it may have been very good, but certain words deserve a certain classification and categorization more so than others. And so for the 6 of you here tonight, you were the best, you were the greatest, you were Hall of Famers. You're a select group of the athletes. I said before, 50 years for Wisconsin Lutheran College. All the students in 50 years at WLC. And the subset of that, the athletes. Thousands, probably. And the subset of that were really good. And then you have the subset of the really good who were great. And then you have the subset of that were Hall of Famers. And that's a word. That's a phrase. So whatever you think tonight, the memories you take from tonight, please know, on behalf of all of us who watched you or cheered you or in one way, shape, or form were in your presence, know that we see you for being Hall of Fame worthy, better than best, better than great, for all the little things you did. For all the little stuff, and we'll probably hear about some of that in the speeches tonight, for all the little things you did to make you Hall of Fame worthy. You're in a special class, and my gosh, your God-given abilities put you here today, and let that not be forgotten in the ceremony that we have here tonight. What's really cool about the way that Wisconsin Lutheran's Hall of Fame class is presented is that it would be a really special night if I just read a name, right? I read a name, and then the person came up and gave a speech. And that would be special, and it would be memorable. But the really cool thing, for those of you who are first-timers here to our Hall of Fame ceremony, is that we have the process by which a presenter inducts the honoree. And tonight, we are, as is the case every year, really privileged to hear from coaches of our honorees, classmates of our honorees, teammates of our honorees, classmates that became life mates of our honorees, parents inducting their children, and every year, whoever you as the honoree get to pick, that dynamic, I hope for those of us who are here, should never be lost. Because that connection and that relationship, and as intently as you listen to the words of the soon-to-be Hall of Famer, listen to the words of the presenter, of the person standing up here who knows the honoree as well, many cases even better, than anyone else. So that is, I always like to make mention of what makes tonight a really special night. And with that said, the time has come, the time is now for us to induct the next 6 members of the WLC Athletics Hall of Fame. We are streaming live at WLCsports.com/HOF. Hi, Mom. And here we go. To induct our first honoree, Tanner Banquet, representing football, I'd like to introduce his presenter, Ryan Adamovich, a friend, a coach of his, to introduce and to induct Tanner. Would you please welcome Ryan Adamovich?
As a former coach of Tanner's, even though it was only for one season, I'm extremely honored to have the privilege on behalf of one, if not his closest friend, Andrew Plato. So these are the words of Andrew. So if you have any complaints, just let me know, I'll pass it along. Let's take it back to the fall of 2012. The freshmen on the WLC football team getting situated in the locker room looking for their name tags. I find mine, look next to me, and I see my locker name, Tanner Banquet. It says on his name tags. I introduce myself, and well, usually this is where stories say something along the lines of, I knew we were going to be the best of friends, or we had an immediate bond, or something of that nature. Well, not this story. I knew we were going to compete. Tanner, especially at that time, is a quiet guy from the country who just drove 2 hours to get here while tapping along to some Conway twig. And then there's me, a loudmouth city slicker who went to a high school down the street and has Drake playing way too loud on his cheap earbuds. Outside of playing the same position, it seemed like there was nothing in common between us. That year, Tanner and I battled day in and day out for time on the field. We knew we were battling for second place as we had fantastic linebackers and leaders in front of us. But that backup job is something we scratched and clawed for every day. We didn't speak to each other a ton during our freshman year because of it. We knew we were in a war with one another for the job. And that is probably the best thing that could have happened, not only for us as players, but as friends. Tanner's relentlessness as a player was absolutely apparent, and his craft and work ethic pushed us both to the end as contributors right away the next year in different positions as we moved to outside linebacker and I moved to defensive end. This switch showed every bit of who Tanner was and continues to be. While I regrettably stayed complacent with having an increased role, Tanner's relentlessness only increased. He was playing out of his typical position, and he continued to get better and better every single day. He was in his playbook, a top performer in the weight room, and one of the most reliable teammates you could ask for as he executed his job time and time again. Tanner demonstrated that the only thing that he cared about was getting better so we could succeed. It was evident he didn't need any extrinsic motivation to strive for greatness. I knew from then on that Tanner was a leader who I needed to hitch my wagon to. I was blessed with the opportunity to room with Tanner for the rest of our time at WLC, which made an extremely positive impact on me as a player in person. I admittedly lost that war we had freshman year, and I couldn't have been happier. I had a front row seat to the hardest worker in any room, and I just tried to copy whatever he did. If he went to the weight room, I went to the weight room. If he was watching film, I was watching film. If he was studying, I was staring at a textbook doing my best acting job. Yada, 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 so on and so forth. The workload this man put on himself between school, workouts, playing, and working a job teaching science on the campus was absolutely astounding. What is even more incredible is how effortless he made success look at each of these areas. He designed curriculum for his science classes while still managing to be named to the dean's list every semester. He became an all-conference player twice while playing outside of his position and was a player of the year in our conference when given the chance to come back home to inside linebacker. He was and is still our relentless, unwavering leader. 8 years later, he is still the exact same guy. He is one of the most influential people in his hometown of Brilliant, where he brought state championships in basketball and football as a player, and now where he teaches and coaches. Sorry, that made it sound a little too simple for the role he plays in his community. He runs the driver's ed program for the whole town, is a major leader in his teaching department, advises multiple clubs, and serves as coach for middle school track, JV basketball, and as the head football coach. I wish we could both be here tonight to honor him, but because of the role But because of his role as head coach, Tanner felt he needed to demonstrate sacrifice as a leader, and as noted earlier, I tried to take in what he does, which led me to attend my game as well.
And the inscription reads, Tanner Banquet, 2012 to 2015, football. Tanner Banquet's playmaking ability helped Wisconsin Lutheran College clinch its first conference championship in program history. On November 15, 2014, the linebacker intercepted a pass and returned it 23 yards for a touchdown to seal a 21-14 win over Concordia, Wisconsin for a share of the Warriors' first ever league title. The NAC leader in tackles and solo tackles his senior season, Banquet was named 2015 D3Football.com Second Team All-Region, NAC Defensive Player of the Year, and First Team All-Conference. He also collected a pair of Second Team All-Conference honors and was twice named Conference Student Athlete of the Week. Playing in all 40 career games, the brilliant Wisconsin native finished his 4-year career with 239 total tackles, including 230 of those over his last 3 years, 143 solo stops, 27 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, and 4 interceptions. He posted 9 games with double-digit tackles, including a career best 19 of them on October 10th, 2015 at Benedictine. Good for 3rd all-time, by the way. Off the gridiron, Banquet was the recipient of the Roger Fleming Senior Scholar Athlete Award, in addition to being named a 4-time NAC Scholar Athlete. As Ryan mentioned, Tanner is coaching his brilliant football team tonight, but thanks to the magic of technology, he offered us this induction address.
Good evening. I want to start by thanking Andrew for his write-up and kind words, and a special thanks to Coach Adamovich for being willing to read them on his behalf. I also want to thank Adam Heinzen for allowing me to make this video for tonight's banquet, and a special thanks to my parents, Kelly and Lori, my sister Kayla, my grandparents Kenny and Kay, and my cousins Paul and Jill for being there on my behalf tonight. I want to thank the Hall of Fame Committee for their decision to induct me into the Wisconsin Lutheran College Hall of Fame. It's truly humbling to be among such a group of distinguished athletes, coaches, and administrators. With that, I'd like to congratulate the other 5 WLC athletes that are being inducted along with me tonight. Congratulations. My journey through WLC was led by many people, and I have many people to thank for that. I want to start with the coaches that I had at WLC. First with the coach that recruited me to join him down at WLC, which was Ben Murphy. Still remember getting the phone call at home and learning more about WLC through Coach Murphy, which ultimately led me to visiting. At that visit, I met Coach Miller, and I remember leaving that initial meeting with Coach Miller and knowing that WLC is the place I would like to play, and Coach Miller's the type of guy that I wanted to play for, not only developing me as a football player, but also a man of God. I'd also like to thank my linebacker coaches I had through the years. Coach Elba, Coach Gosh, and Coach Adamovich were all really good guys, helped me become a better linebacker, but also, again, helped me develop as an adult as I was going through college. And then my defense coordinators, Coach Murphy was, and then Coach Donovan, who was my D coordinator my last year, and allowed me to play inside backer and really helped to make us the group we were that senior year. I also want to thank all the other coaches that I didn't mention. When I talk about WLC football program, all the coaches have a positive impact on it. It's a place where I just have nothing but good memories about my playing time and the camaraderie between the coaches and the players. With that, I'd like to thank my teammates. Specific shout out to Andrew, who, when I first went down there, ended up being my locker buddy right next to me. And meeting him the first time, I knew he was a guy that I wanted to surround myself by, and ended up branching into a lifelong friendship. And I was very fortunate to have someone like Andrew by my side all 4 years, pushing me to be better on the football field and as a student and a man of God as well. With that, I also want to thank all the other teammates. The fun thing about football is the amount of guys that are a part of the team, and I was fortunate to play with for 4 years there. All of them led to it being enjoyable, helping me become a better player, but also leading us to some really successful seasons on the football field. So I'm very fortunate to play. I feel like I played in a Hall of Fame era of WLC football, and I'm fortunate to have been with the guys there. Lastly, I'd like to thank my family for their support through my athletic career. Special thanks to my parents, Kelly and Lori. Thanks for all the support you gave me through my career. I can't put into words how much your support through college and before that have led to the success I had in athletics. But also to all my other family members who found time on Saturdays to make it down to football games and chat and hang out after the games. Your continued support, both at home games and road games, made it really enjoyable those 4 years, and all that time that you spent coming to watch WLC play means a lot to me. So with that, I'm really grateful for the impact that WLC had on me, not only as a football player, but as an individual. It's led to lifelong friendships and memories that I will forever cherish. I'm truly humbled to be inducted into the WLC Hall of Fame, and I want to thank the committee one more time for this honor. Have a good night, everyone.
It is my honor to introduce to you the next member of the Warriors Athletic Hall of Fame, and accepting on his behalf his father Kelly, Tanner Banquet.
Ain't technology grand? We couldn't have done that when we had the first ceremony. Our next honoree, Matt Isold from men's soccer. To induct Matt is his former head coach and still the men's soccer coach to this day, Mr. Joe Lidke.
Well, man, had I known that I'd be standing up on this podium in front of all these great people, maybe I would have said, I might be too nervous, I don't know if I can do this. But it's great to see so many people here. This is outstanding. I think having such a great attendance and people here, I know means a lot to those who are being inducted, so I think it's great. Thank you for being here. Matthew, thank you for the opportunity to potentially get emotional in public again, which I sincerely appreciate that, as you know, something that tends to happen to me. And if you've been to a men's soccer banquet or had the pleasure to watch Toy Story 3 with me, you would quickly notice that things that are real and tangible tend to get me a little bit. And then I've heard, I do have some of my former players over there, and evidently there is an over-under on the number of breakdowns. So, the competitor in me is going to prove you wrong the best I can. So if I make you feel uncomfortable and get choked up, I apologize. And since evidently I'm making this all about me, I also want to thank you for the opportunity to squeeze into this suit. There's some big life changes starting tomorrow. But, with that said, we are here to talk about Matt Isold. And you may hear me refer to him as Matt, as Ice, as Isold, and very rarely Matthew. I don't know if I've ever pulled that one out, but usually he's Ice. I think that's what his name is, so I might use all three of them. So, God in his infinite wisdom brought Matt into a group. Let me back up a little bit. So in August of most summers, I would take part in a big high school soccer camp at Elon. There'd be over 300 kids there. And every day you get a different group. Well, it's first week of July, first week of August, and I get my group together, and there's Matt Isold in the group. Out of 300 kids, we get Matt Isold in there. And right away, right, what struck me about Matt was, number one, he was probably the hardest working kid in the group. And for those coaches here who've done camps before, camps don't always bring out the hardest working individuals, right? Because they're kind of there, but they're not always working really hard. So kids that do are somewhat outliers. He was working hard, he was attentive, he had a lot of athletic ability. And did I mention he was working hard and it was 90 plus degrees? He worked so hard that he had to take a little break and spend a little time by the garbage can. And I was like, Matthew, you all right? He's like, man, I'm not feeling so great. I don't know if I can go. But I could tell that that was killing him. He wanted to be able to participate. And he wanted to be able to go. Again, God at work. It turned out Matthew was a Lutheran, a Wells Lutheran. And at that time in our soccer program, right, that was really where we were still building our base of players, which is great. We still try to do that to this day, obviously. Got in touch with his high school coach, Coach Steger was here. And like I say, the rest is history. Matt shows up for the first preseason of his career. Goalkeeper coach, Coach Artolini is here. Usually after a couple days, I'll pull Coach Artolini aside and be like, hey, what do you think? How's he doing? And I remember, almost like it was just now, him looking at me and go, well, he's a bit unorthodox, really athletic, can make saves, but I think he might kill himself. Yeah? Yes. And I think he said that multiple times. Because Matt was fearless. He could jump, and he would do anything to make a save. But part of being a goalkeeper, it's one of the most technically driven positions on the soccer field. There's a ton of technique to it. That's why we hire out for that. You have to learn how to fall, right? You have to learn how to dive. And if you don't do it the right way, it can really hurt, especially when you're as acrobatic as Matt. So one of the things that I definitely want to bring out tonight as we talk about Matt, among a couple other things I hopefully hit on, is just the athleticism, the dedication, and how he refined his ability. As a freshman, he came into a program that had really, really good goalkeeper in it already, right? And he had to work, he had to push himself, he had to become better at the position, and he did. And by his junior year, senior year, he was phenomenal. Not only the best goalkeeper in our conference, best goalkeeper in the region, and at that time we were still a growing program. We had some success, no doubt about it, gents, we had success. But had Matthew played on a top 1 or 2 team in our conference, he would have been burdened with all the awards that he would have been drugged down with, because he was truly that good. A couple other things that people maybe don't know about Matthew is really intelligent. He used to get on my nerves sometimes because he's so logical, right? Had a 30-some plus on his ACT, biology major initially, wanted to study bugs, I believe, right? So he is a Renaissance man. He's a musician, right? He is not just a goalkeeper. He's got some style, too, right? He brings that to the table. So he's just really he has so many layers to him, and some of the guys that know him better have gotten to know all those layers. There's many times throughout his career that in the course of a game, he would have 15 to 20 saves in a game. We went to Carroll to play. And somehow, literally, I think by the grace of God, right? It was a night game, but I could see the heavens open because he stood on his head. And Ricky Mobley, the coach at the time, after the game, he couldn't get the words out. Ricky Mobley was a longtime pro. He couldn't get the words out to describe the type of performance that you had in that game. And I still don't think he's giving you that video, despite the fact that we asked for it. I think he had 20 plus saves. We lost at the end, unfortunately, but he did all he could to keep us in it. So he kept us in games, he helped us win games. The journey of our men's soccer program at WLC, you're such an integral part of that. He laid the groundwork for where we are today. And then when he was done with his career at WLC, he maybe didn't even realize it, but he was still giving back. He had a really successful amateur career. For those who don't know, soccer in the amateur realm in the Milwaukee area and throughout the country is big. And he went on and won some championships with Milwaukee Sport Club, and then he becomes a pro, right? So then he plays professionally with Milwaukee Wave. And all this is just a testament to his work ethic, to his intelligence, to a chip that probably rests on all the great ones' shoulders. That's only one, right? So without further ado, there's more that I could say, but Matthew, this induction means a lot. Personally, to the soccer program, to everyone who's coming forward. So, congratulations.
And the inscription reads, Matt Isold, men's soccer 2006 through 2009. The first Wisconsin Lutheran College goalkeeper to lead his team to a 10-win season, Matt Isold established himself as one of the premier shot stoppers in the then Northern Athletics Conference, starting every game over the final 3 seasons of his 4-year Warriors career. Isold was a 3-time All-MAC performer. In his first year as a starter, he earned second-team All-Conference honors while leading WLC to a 2007 conference tournament berth, the team's second straight postseason appearance. Following an honorable mention nod in 2008, Isold collected first-team All-Conference and All-State honorable mention recognition as a senior, becoming just the second player at his position in program history to achieve the feat. The Burlington, Wisconsin native led the league in saves, in save percentage, and in saves per game. In 58 career games, the 4th most by a goalkeeper in conference history, Isold ranks second in the conference with 398 career saves. He concluded his career with a .798 save percentage, 19 victories, and 8 shutouts. The 2-time NAC Scholar Athlete and once noted NAC Student Athlete of the Week became the first player in program history to ink a professional contract, and tonight becomes the first men's soccer player in Warrior history to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
With that honor, we introduce you the next member of the Warriors Athletics Hall of Fame, Matt Isold.
Sorry, I feel a little emotional myself for once. Rarely happens, I promise. It's great. Thank you for everyone for being here. I think in all of these moments, it's always best to speak from the heart. So I will do my very best to do that here tonight. From the first time that I laced up boots, which was much later than most soccer players at 14, they were a pair of Puma Teixeiras. For those who don't know me very well, I'm a big-time shoe guy, sneakerhead, or if you ask my wife, I just have a shoe problem. To the last time that I took off my gloves for the Milwaukee Wave, I have loved the game. It was perfect for me. It's oftentimes that soccer's called the beautiful game. And for me, it always has been beautiful. Both in all of the moments that sport brings to all of us, right? The pain of defeat, the thrill of big wins, the cost and the reward of all the blood, sweat, and tears that we put into our athletic endeavors. But to me, the game always made a certain sort of sense. It's a really simple concept, really. Put the round thing in the rectangle, or in my case, try to stop the round thing from going in the rectangle. But it really seemed kind of like a metaphor for life, right? It's a simple idea, it's a simple concept. Be a good person, be a good husband, a good spouse, try to live a good life. But the path to getting there is difficult. There's a lot of intricacy and nuance and things that go on, make the journey hard. So it always helped kind of make logical sense of the world around us, right? A little order in the world of chaos. So I have always loved the game, and thankfully, the game has always loved me back. Secret time. Turns out soccer is a team sport. Hard to play by yourself. And I've been fortunate that while goalkeeping is at times a lonely place to be, I was never truly alone. I had tons of teammates throughout my time of playing. That always made that journey much easier. I'm very grateful that there's a large number of them here tonight. And again, kinds of brings the things that you'd expect from team sport. Right? Playing for something bigger than yourself, being bigger than the sum of your parts. having people lift you up when you stumble and fall, being there to lift them up when they stumble and fall. But the things they never tell you are the memories, the friendships, the relationships that you make along the way. And those are things that no one can ever take away from you. And from the bottom of my heart, I am very grateful for every single one of those times that they were able to help provide me. Whether it was late night Taco Bell runs, which, don't worry Mom, I didn't actually partake very often, I just drove. Right? To interrupting hotel dance parties as a freshman, which was a little scarring, I'll be honest. To borrowing soccer clothes, sometimes without asking, for my teammates. To chasing down my best friend to save him from himself after some long and interesting nights. I can't help but reminisce and think about all those wonderful times and what they've provided for me. Again, team sports, turns out you need a leader, you need a coach. I've been blessed to have 3 great coaches here in this room tonight. The first one, my high school coach, Andy Stags, as I lovingly call him, really helped set me on the path to try to figure out what does it mean to be an athlete? What does it mean to be a soccer player? Really set the precedent of what is a coach? Right? What are the things that they should do? What should that look like? Very grateful, right, that he taught me how to care, right, how to work hard, how to overcome adversity. Because secret time number 2, turns out Burlington's not a big soccer place, not a football town, Tony Romo land. It's nice for him, but we weren't great. And, you know, it meant him trying to drown me in pool workouts, which to this day I'm not a very good swimmer, to adventures to Ohio to pick up arcade machines for his kids for Christmas that were actually for him. And I know that I would not have gotten to play college soccer without his help and his guidance, which leads us to the man behind me and my goalkeeper coach, Artles, as I affectionately call him. They continued to lay the groundwork and the path for me to move forward. What it really meant to be a good soccer player. Joe once reminded me of one of my favorite quotes of all time, which is, "With great power comes great responsibility." And that's a lesson that I carry with me every single day. The opportunity to take on more, the opportunity to take on burdens that others can't, right, is important, both as a player, as a man, and now as a coach, as I've been fortunate to return to WLC as the head women's soccer coach. And I can't be more grateful to both of them for all that they did for me. As a young, immature teenager who showed up on their door, to the player that I became, and the man and coach that I am now, there is never enough words to express how grateful I am for everything that they have done for me. As we continue to pull on some heartstrings, we'll go to the thought of pure love. So again, for those who don't know, my parents adopted myself, my twin sister, and my other sister who are here today. I don't know what encompasses that idea more than deciding to take on children that are not your own flesh and blood. My parents are not soccer people. They won't mind me saying that. That's not what they are. And that was perfect for me. They were always there to support me, never got too high, never got too low, never pushed me in ways that sometimes youth sports has moved to now. And always would ask, did you enjoy playing today? Right? And my answer was always yes, because again, I do love the game. That brings me to my now extended family, one who chose me, I think, and a bunch that maybe did not. But my sister-in-law and my father-in-law are here tonight. They are a volleyball family. Alexis and Andrew both played volleyball at WLC, but they've taken on the soccer mantle wholeheartedly, attending wave games, attending amateur soccer games. Can't thank them enough for taking me in as one of their own. And then my daughter makes noises. I can't help but thank my wife. Turns out the athlete life the coach life is not easy. All of you in here who take on that responsibility know that it's long nights, late dinners, schedules that are never quite as iron tight as you'd like, a lot of improvising sometimes. So I can't help but thank them and my family for all that they've done for me as well. And as we kind of roll it back, you know, for a kid from Burlington, who, again, soccer not a big thing there, to go on to play college soccer, have a successful career, to play professionally for 7 years for the Milwaukee Wave, which is the longest running professional soccer franchise in the United States, to winning a title with them in the 2018-19 season. The game has given me more than I ever thought, that I ever could have dreamed of as that 14-year-old kid putting on his Uma Teixeira's long ago. So thank you to my family, thank you to my coaches, thank you to all of my teammates, and of course thank you to WLC, the committee, everyone here in this room, and finally, thank you to the beautiful game. You've given me more than I could have ever asked for.
As Matt said, one of the really neat things is when the Hall of Famers are still part of the everyday fabric of WLC, and it's worth pointing out that in his first season, Matt's Warrior women's soccer team off to its best start in over a decade. So, speaks to the talents as a player and now as a coach. We've heard from teammates, we've heard from a coach to the player, but the bond between teammates, classmates, and teammates is special and unique. Here to induct Tim Kepsel for men's cross country and men's track and field. Please welcome his former teammate, his longtime friend, Cam Austin.
Every now and then in this crazy sport of distance running that we have taken on, I started kind of a whim way back in 1999 as a high school freshman that had no idea what in the world he was going to be doing. The question comes up every once in a while, what in the world do you think about when you're out there running? What in the world do you do to get better at the sport? The answer is quite simple. You just run. Within the sport's simplicity lay its great complexity. And that is what I learned to discover about the sport as I fell in love with it in high school, and then eventually grew to appreciate that even more in college. When I first got to WLC in fall of 2002, I knew that I was going to have a roommate. I knew that he was going to be a teammate. I knew that he was a very successful runner in high school. We had never met. We had spoken on the phone a couple of times. And I just did not exactly know what to expect. Because of course he was coming from Reno, Nevada, I came from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, so I was coming right up the street over to WLC, and eventually I get to meet this kid. And here we are, 21 years later, and the concepts that I first learned when I first walked through the doors at Wisconsin Lutheran College. We hear a lot about servant leadership at Wisconsin Lutheran, and Tim came to embody that all the way. And in every aspect that I got to know him, Tim was all in everything. And you get to know someone quite well over the span of a 10-mile run, or a 12-miler, or a 15-miler. And to do that week after week for a 12, 13-week season, and to do that for 4 years in college, and then both cross-country and track, let's just say we got to know each other well. He places the needs of others ahead of himself. I found that out right away. In the first race that we ever competed at St. Norbert College, at the Tom Berry invite, we had just gotten done with the race, and I see our brand new athletes that were there, of which I was one of them. And Tim is right there at the finish line, cheering them on as they're coming in. Some people that had never run before, some people that were just lacing up their cleats for the first time. Well, we call them spikes, I guess. but laces up the spikes for the first time in competition at a collegiate level, and he's cheering him on all the way into the finish. And a very small team that we had back in those days. Early on, Tim was doing this. And then I got to know the guy. Back up to that first time that we met at the door. So I got to know Tim, and the little bit I got to know him on the phone was that he sold Cutco knives, and he was very quick to tell me about all the sweet knives that he was going to show me when we moved in. So I thought, well, that's something that I will have to probably grow into ever so slightly. Not so sure what to think about that. Then, we're moving in. I, being the Wisconsinite that I am, decide that I'm going to take some cold food with me, and I'm going to move it on into my micro fridge in West Hall. And one of the delectable items that I immediately inserted into the micro fridge was Wisconsin fresh cheese curds. So Tim is looking at me as I'm putting those things in there, and he has his own moment of, what did I get myself into? He's asking me what in the world these things are, and I say, oh, these are cheese curds, and what's even better is at the room temperature, and they squeak when you bite into them. He's looking at me like, come again. So little by little, after the culture shock started to wear off, and there was still a little bit more. For example, I bore witness to Tim wearing a shirt sleeve as a hat, and he had two of them. One of them said, this is my hat. The other one said, official USATF racing cap. And that was just the way that we just functioned for a little while. We were yin and yang as far as the way that we approached the sport. I was just immediately into numbers. I would just be obsessed with in specific paces that I would have to run on certain training runs. Tim was just like, I'm just going to run how I feel. And Tim was that's not to say that Tim would ever cut corners, because he did not cut corners. And be it on the cross-country course, be it on the roads, be it on the track in the track season, be it in the weight room when he's doing what I used to always call random abs, where he'd be in there doing abdominal exercises for about 5 minutes after we were done. But he would be doing that to do whatever he needed to do to put himself in a position where he could help the team and help the individual members of the team, of which I certainly did benefit as well. So the stats, I mean, we can certainly take a look at it at the folder. You can certainly see that he held 8 records at one point while he was at Wisconsin College. Set the program record in cross country, running 25:31. But the one race that really stands out to me, if you'll indulge me in one racing story, is actually the regional cross country championship his freshman year. Tim and I had been up probably a little bit too late the night before, just looking at results from the prior season, looking at results from other teams, and I was pointing out some guys that I had run against in high school that I knew were going to be great that next day, and I had hopes of kind of tagging along for the ride right behind him. And then that day, Tim ran a race that still strikes me as unbelievable. As a freshman who had been running with me the entire season, he runs a 26:03 in his first regional championship, and in doing so, I thought in that moment, made WLC at that point, which was still a pretty young program, all of a sudden we became a program that you can be a serious distance runner, and you can have big goals and big aspirations, and really do something with the sport, while also motivating yourself in the classroom and being a well-rounded student and being a servant leader. That race struck me as, I am not in this kid's league. And while we had some pretty epic battles, sometimes on the road, sometimes on the trails, sometimes I took him out in workouts and celebrated my victory on Tuesday, he was usually the one that was waiting for me at the finish line on Saturday. But those were the things that, obviously, when you are talking about mentoring young athletes, that's something that he took right with him into his own life. While Tim was all in on the cross-country course, he was also all in the classroom. Many times putting me to shame as he was reading and studying and taking notes and doing what he needed to do in the classroom, to the point where I'm just munching on my ramen noodles and just looking at him like, oh, what you're doing studying all that. We had the same major, so not only were we teammates, we were roommates the entire time that we were on campus. We also had the exact same majors. We were both education majors, and I could tell right away that Tim had a passion for urban education. And in that, he went all in. He taught inner city kids. He was up at 4:30 in the morning most days when he was doing that. He was still running, believe it or not, even after college, while still doing that. I can vouch for that. I actually showed up at his place one morning at about 4:45, and we hammered out a nice, quick little 6-miler before we went to our respective schools. Tim was all in. And now he's still all in. He's still all in as an educator. He's still all in as a man of faith. He's still all in as a husband. He's all in as a father. He has 2 little girls now. And that is the thing that I think I value the most about Tim. He stood up at my wedding. He's my best man. He's a teammate. We had many great conversations, and we talked openly about our dreams while we were out on the trails, one of which was, heaven help us if any of us have daughters. Between the 2 of us, we have 3. So, because of this, his impression that he has left on this program, of which I was proud to be a member of for 3 years, and there are many, many teammates that have been beneficiaries of what Tim brought to the table for many years to follow, people that see his names on the top 10 lists, and people that maybe saw that he helped put this program right on the map. And I was privileged to have a front seat to it. And he has mentored some of the most disadvantaged kids in the classroom, and that servant leadership that he embraced as an athlete, as a student at WLC, continues on to this day. And Tim, I just gotta say from the bottom of my heart, thank you. You mentored me as well. It's a privilege to have been your teammate. It's a privilege to have been your friend. But most importantly, it's a privilege to have just been around you and to have soaked it up and to have had you mentor me at times when I needed it the most. Congratulations, Tim, and congratulations to the WLC cross-country program on a wonderful life for the program. God bless.
The inscription reads, Tim Kepsel, men's cross country, men's track and field, 2002 through 2005. The most decorated cross country runner in Lake Michigan Conference history. Wisconsin Lutheran College's Tim Kepsel was the only individual to claim 3 conference titles during his 4-year career. The 2002 Conference's Rookie of the Year burst onto the conference landscape by winning the 8K championship race in his first season as a Warrior. Kepsel claimed the first of 2 LMC Runner of the Year awards in 2003 by topping the next closest finisher by 1 minute 27 seconds for his 2nd consecutive conference crown. Following a 3rd place individual finish at the 2004 conference championship, he paced WLC to its highest placing in conference history 1 year later. Kepsel, who captured his 3rd conference title, was named the conference's Runner of the Year as a senior while leading a team with 4 other freshman scorers to a runner-up finish. The Reno, Nevada native was the program's first 4-time all-conference honoree and holds the 5th fastest 8K performance in school history of 25 minutes, 31 seconds. A 4-year track and field letter winner, Kepsel held 8 school records upon graduating and ranks in the top 10 in 6 events, including the school's 1,500-meter indoor record.
It is my honor to introduce to you the next member of the Warriors Athletics Hall of Fame, Tim Kepsel.
I'm glad that Cam talked first because I get the last word. And as much as it might seem, I came out of the middle of the desert wearing short sleeves on my head, which I did. Can't argue against that. I wasn't the only roommate who, coming into freshman year, said, I don't know about this guy. So what stood out to me first about Cam was that his email address at the time was frogonlog@aol.com. I still distinctly remember that. And as the summer progressed, Coach Travis had been talking to me individually and said, hey, there's another guy coming in, here's contact info. We had run similar times in high school. I was excited to have somebody to be able to train with. But this email address just kept sticking with me. I'm like, is this going to be the kind of person who has any sort of work ethic it just didn't matter. And then there were those cheese curds. Those cheese curds. Again, coming from west of the Rockies, having absolutely no context of the culture of the Midwest, when I came here summer 2002, we get into the dorms and there's Cam with his package of cheese curds. Cheese doesn't come in curds. Cheese does not come in oddly shaped circles. Cheese comes in nice rectangular cubes, okay? That's how cheese is made. At least west of the Rockies, that's how it's made. And then here's these little bits of cheese, and they squeak cheese. Your food is not supposed to make a noise when you eat it. And here's this guy introducing me to cheese curds. Anyways, Cam's also the guy who would consistently put empty banana peels and empty fruit snack wrappers on my shoulder during van rides to our races. Cam was the guy who, yes, after long training days, when I would get home and work on schoolwork or lesson plans during student teaching, he would open an entire bag of party-sized Skittles. And only through sheer will did he not eat the entire bag in one sitting. Starburst wrappers, he would just stack them up, one by one, neatly, like that, okay? So I wasn't the only sort of odd kid that summer to come into the program. But yeah, summer 2002, my dad and I drive my sister's car out from Reno to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and it was quite the culture shock. Everything from cheese curds to humidity, Reno sits at about 4,500 feet above sea level. It's a dry desert, okay? Humidity, what do you people do out here, is what I would think. A whole lot of culture shock. But over time, it became home. The area became home. WLC became home. And I knew this because I distinctly remember opening the sports paper one Monday in the WLC Underground, and it wasn't so much that I was hoping the Packers had won their football game. I was actually looking for the Chicago Bears to lose. And in that moment, I stopped myself and I thought, oh no, this thing has overtaken me. And it was in that moment, it's like, okay, this place has become home. 4 years of running later, the awards, the accolades, as you had heard, all of that later, I still have no idea what to think of this. This many years, I don't remember the last time I ran, folks, okay? I don't know, honestly, I do not remember. My beautiful wife, Vanessa, my two amazing daughters, Olivia and Isabella, still back in Reno. They're live streaming tonight. Again, thank you, technology. Thank you, everybody, putting that together. Hi, I love you. Go to sleep tonight. Don't keep mommy awake. All of that later, and taking time to reflect, and out of this, I really think God has shown me two big lessons. The first big lesson is that we are here to be a blessing to others. And although this night is about individual accomplishments, I think being separated from those for so long has given me that opportunity to step back and instead being able to, by God's grace, on a daily basis, live that life of servant leadership. It is now again through teaching, through being a husband, through being a father. And as I'm reflecting on this time, I have this list of people who were a blessing to me. So as Scott introduces our evening and talks about the words best and the words great, there is no way I would be standing here without this list of people being that blessing to me. First and foremost, right, in everything, thank you, Jesus. As Jesus was, as the Bible says, knitting me together in my mother's womb, he decided that I was going to have arms the size of a 12-year-old girl. I still do to this day. Every Christmas, I ask Santa for my man body, and Santa doesn't bring it. So here we are. Anyway, still, thank you, Jesus, because something like this, pretty much all you do is run. So thank you, Jesus, for that. Secondly, thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad. My folks drove 6 hours from Minnesota to be here. There was never a question about spending money to allow me to do this thing. My dad working hard, my dad being a teacher himself, but there was never any hesitation when it came to the shoes and the clothes and the food. One of the years from our home cross-country race, my parents came out, brought my little brothers, watched, take me out to lunch afterwards. Cool, thanks Mom and Dad, I appreciate it. And then we went to Costco, and it felt like they bought out Costco. So we get back to my dorm room, and there is just food. And it was overwhelming, right? When you really get that huge amount of love and this thing that I don't deserve, it's overwhelming. And I just said, thanks, Dad, and I gave him a hug, and he said, what good is our money if we don't spend it on the people that we love? Okay? Dad, that's always stuck with me. That's something I work on implementing now with Vanessa and the girls, so thank you for that, Dad. My older sister, who's also here, she flew in from Boise. She landed last night. Thank you, family. I really appreciate it. My sister was a senior at WLC my freshman year. Really what that meant is that I simply used her meal plan. I simply knocked on her door at all hours of the day and night and said, what kind of cereal do you have in your cabinet right now? Even after she graduated and I continued to run and race, she lived near Madison at the time, and so on those long weekends I would be able to go to her apartment, stay with her, and the cereal was always stocked. Always. Thank you, Coach Travis. Coach, I did not appreciate all the work you did while I was here. The summer 2002, the summer I showed up to WLC, a couple weeks before leaving Reno, I get an email from Coach, and it basically said, I need to know if you are actually coming to WLC. I'm scratching my head, I'm like, Coach, of course I'm coming to WLC. Like, why would you even ask me this? Okay, yes, upon reflection and maturing a little bit later in life, realizing, sure, I had applied, I had been accepted, I had my schedule set, of course I'm coming to WLC. I never, in retrospect, I never actually sent Coach an email that said, yes, Coach, I'm going to come around on WLC's team. Coach, I'm sorry. I apologize, okay? And not only is it getting the athletes in, it's the when they're there. Coach, for all of the emotions, all of the classes, all of the other things students want to do. Coach, the staying late when we would get in the ice bath after hard workouts. Coach, getting up early on Saturday. Coach, driving us back from everywhere Wisconsin, everywhere Illinois. I don't know how Mountain Dew and Mike and Ike's haven't sponsored him yet. Because every time it was time to drive back from a race, Coach, it was Mountain Dew and Mike and Ike's, and that's how he stayed awake. Coach, I did not see and I did not appreciate the effort and the blessing you lived out on a daily basis. I see it now, Coach, and I thank you very much for that. And then finally, 3 athletes that I was blessed to run with, who again are all here tonight. Craig Kuehl, Cameron Austin, and Zach Shields. Can't really put into words, gentlemen, the blessing that you have been in my life. And thinking about the ways that I haven't necessarily been a blessing in your life. Craig and I roomed together the year after I graduated from WLC, and Craig ended up creating a dish bucket for me. The dish bucket was just a Rubbermaid bucket, and it said Tim's Dirty Dishes on it. And I came home one afternoon to find a load of dishes in my dirty dish bucket, and I didn't have the best habit of doing dishes as a roommate. And Craig would just take all of my dirty dishes at that point and put them in the bucket and leave them there for me. Craig being able to only laugh inside when the Seattle Seahawks, I was born in Seattle, grew up in Reno, when the Seattle Seahawks in multiple playoff games, beat the Packers, don't do it, and getting to experience, that. Yeah, Cam, thank you so much, I appreciate it, that's about all I can say on that. And then to finally be a blessing to others, to set groundwork for athletes who come after, like Zach, who came in as a freshman our senior year and who completely obliterated the times that I ran and the records that I had, and realizing it's not the accolades, that's not the point, it's the point to be a blessing to other people and to set that groundwork for others to move on. The second and the final is the idea of endurance. The idea that day in and day out, running 60 to 70 miles a week and having to run those miles relatively fast requires an amazing amount of physical endurance, mental endurance, and the idea that God calls us, okay, horrible cliche time, but it fits, right? To run with endurance the race that we've been given. And obviously, these days, it is not a literal race. These days, it is a race of being a loving husband and being a dad who spends less time and energy on kids at school and more energy and time on his own daughters at home. And there's victories and there's losses, as there are in all athletics, but it requires endurance, which requires faithfulness. And so to you, everyone here tonight, may I please encourage you. May I please encourage you in those two things that God has shown me, that we are here to be a blessing to others. It doesn't matter if it's in little ways, like when the 3.5-year-old wakes up screaming at 2 a.m. and my alarm goes off at 3 a.m. so I can get up and catch a flight to get out here today from Reno. It doesn't matter, right? We're here to be a blessing to others, so you get up and you take care of your kid. For those of you, for who you see on a daily basis, would you please continue to strive to be a blessing to those around you? In small things, in big things. Would God put His love on your heart so massively and show you just how much He loves you that you can't but help love other people in the same way? And then in that second point, may I please encourage all of you in endurance. We all have battles. We all have proverbial miles to run. We all have stories right now that everybody else in here doesn't know. Things that are incredibly arduous, things that make us cry, things that we don't know if we're actually going to make it or not. But we're not the ones who have to finish the race. What God has started in us, He will be faithful to bring to completion. So may I encourage you to think about those things you have in your life right now and to continue to endure in those things, day in and day out. There's a really famous book in the world of running, and in that the fictional character reflects a little bit, and people want to know, what's the secret? How do you get so fast? And he says in one short, very poignant sentence, there is no secret, right? There is no secret. You get up tomorrow, you ask the good Lord to fill you with the strength you need just for tomorrow, and you endure. Thank you very much.
Is frog on a log at AOL.com? Is that still active? Still there? All right, you heard it, everybody. You're going to get 150 emails at frog on a log at AOL.com. We continue now with the Mortel portion of the evening. If you look, page 7 of our program tonight, and you look through the names, you will find that while we have a father and son that went in together in 2014, tonight is a first where siblings enter And what makes this extremely special, as has been the case on select moments or in select instances over time, is anytime the parent gets an opportunity to induct their son or their daughter. To induct Ellen Mortel, representing women's golf, would you please welcome her dad, Jim.
Thank you very much. When Ellen asked me to introduce her this evening, I said, you can certainly go and find somebody way better than me to do this. And Jacob goes, no, she's asking you, you do this. So we're going to do the best we can. And before I get started, I want to speak for my wife and I of how much of a privilege and an honor it is to be standing here and to have our family have our lives go through Christian education and how important that has been in our lives. And to have 2 kids up here, they would not be up here if it wasn't for the Christian education that was started with Kurt Schmidt, Mark Zeller, that have come all the way down from Minneapolis. It's an honor to be here and to have that education continue through the staff of President Johnson. We're just awful thankful that we could have that education. And also just want to thank a couple people, all of our friends coming in this evening. We didn't have any idea coming into this that it would change our lives the way that it changed. And forever friendships that just last a lifetime. And I'm going to give to you, Ellen. And want to thank Adam. You didn't realize that you were recruiting 2 kids when you recruited Jacob, which is kind of humorous because Jacob came home one day and he goes, do you know that President Johnson called me? We're like, what did you do wrong, Jacob? You had to do something wrong. No, he was recruiting him, and that was a big honor. And I thank President Johnson for doing that. About Ellen, it's hard to get up here and explain about her and introduce her and to project what she is and what she was. Ellen played the sport with her heart. Ellen played with her emotions on her sleeve. Ellen was a closer. Ellen loved challenges. If there was somebody out there that was getting close to her in her round, she only dug deeper. Ellen wasn't the type of player, she hit a bad shot, she'd start crying and feel bad and break down. That wasn't Ellen's deal. Ellen got stronger, and Ellen loved to close. And one of the main reasons about that is because she had a brother that taught her how to harness that and how to bring that out. And I can't sit here and explain some of the epic golf matches that we've had together as a family, where Jacob would set the rules and Ellen would go through the roof upset. But if Ellen could handle golfing with Jacob and hold up to Jacob, going out in the real world and playing was easy for Ellen at that point. And I'm very thankful that they got to do that. And on the other side of the coin, when Jacob set the rules and Ellen would get upset, Jacob would never let her play from the woman's tee, had to come back. And if she was going to beat Jacob, it was going to be on square turn. It was the best thing that could happen. And probably for Jacob, it probably took him a while to get used to being screamed at and yelled at for 6, 7 holes until things calmed down. And I'm sure people from Edgewood and everybody else didn't scream at Jacob like his sister did. So it kind of worked out well, you know. Ellen was a closer. Ellen was a power golfer. Ellen liked to go out and lead. Ellen liked to take the best people on and go and play. And I didn't realize this. I coached her in high school. We coached her. Where's Jeremy? We coached her. And when she was in 8th grade, I took her to a father-daughter golf tournament at our club, just trying to spend some quality time. Jacob was up and running. And we get walking over there, and there's a crowd around this girl. And Ellen goes, "What is all that?" I said, "Well, that girl is playing college golf in St. Louis." And I said, "She's been really doing well, and they've been writing up about her, and she's a good player." And she goes, "Oh, okay." So we're out there, and they had a long drive on this hole. And Ellen goes, "Is that girl's drive?" I said, "Yes." I said, "Okay." And I see the sneer, I see the determination, and what Ellen wanted to do at that point. And after that tournament was over, she goes up there and collects our winning trophy. She collects the long drive that she beat the girl on the front and on the back. And I'm driving home, I'm thinking, she's got that heart of the line. She's got it. So we fast forward quickly to her high school year, and our team was good, but our team was scared to death. The girls were scared to death to play this girl in an all-girls school that was very intimidating. Scared the girls. The girls didn't want to show up and play. And this girl would count everybody's score over again after each hole. These girls were just terrified. And I'm like, what's going on? And I feel a tug. And Ellen was a freshman. Ellen goes, "I'll play her." And I was mad. I told these girls, "You girls should be doing this." And Ellen goes, "No, I'll play her." Ellen goes out there. And I swear this girl was like twice Ellen's size. She was big. And Ellen beat her during the season, at conference, and at sections. And the coach comes up to me and goes, "You know, my school wanted to know how I let these Lutherans beat us Catholics." I wanted to say, "I know why. Because our warrior took down your drag, and all the other girls could do their job. And those girls went to state, they took third, they did great." But Ellen wasn't afraid. Ellen always had the heart of a warrior. She comes into college, and it's great. We go and play a tournament, Aurora. And you guys were kind of beating up on Aurora and everything at the time, and the coach coached the girls and the boys. And the coach comes out and goes to give the award-winning plaque to Ellen. Goes, "Are you Jacob Martell's sister?" And Ellen goes, "Yes, I'm Jacob Martell's sister." And the guy goes, "Are there any more kids with this family?" I said, "Come on, Pam, tell him we got two more." She wouldn't do it. She wouldn't do it. One other great story is Ellen's first conference. And there was a dad from Concordia out there, and we're standing out there on the first hole. And this girl hits this ball, and here comes this other ball, and it goes way past hers. And this dad turns around to everybody and goes, "That's my daughter, that's my daughter." I'm like, "That's cool, you know, I know it's coming." I said, "Congratulations." Now, here comes Ellen. This ball flies at daughter, lands on the other side of the hill. It's just a chip shot to the green on a par 4. This guy goes, "Whose is that? Whose is that?" I said, "That's ours, that's Ellen." And it's a windy day. After 8 holes, the guy turns around, because Ellen didn't hit it. Ellen hit it hard. So the wind didn't bother it as much and everything. And this guy turns around and goes, "It isn't even fair what she's doing out here." That's how she played, you know. One story you asked me about this club, why I bring this up here. It's a great story, and it involves you, Coach. It was her second championship, and she's on the 17th hole, and it's a hole that was a long hole, and there was a lake, and you could either go around the lake or you could take it to the green. Ellen had a plan; she was taking it to the green at all costs. So we said, "Try this club here." So we get up there, there's a wind coming into her. You remember, Wally, the 17th hole? And there's a little bit of rain, and she doesn't get it out there as far as we would have liked. Wally walks up there and he's talking to Ellen as kind and as gentle as he always does. And he goes, Ellen, I kind of think we should go around this lake. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, that's not it, because we can hear, it's about 50 yards away, and I'm thinking, it's not a bad idea, you know? Ellen goes, we got this, Wally. Don't worry about it. 178 yards, into the wind, drizzle rain, and the ball sitting down. There was 2 shots that Pam Mortel couldn't watch her kids hit. One of them was that shot. The other one was the first playoff for the first championship, and Jacob had a 10-foot putt downhill real fast. Where's Pete? But you guys were already taking care of business. We didn't know it didn't matter. He runs in the putt. This is the other shot. And Ellen takes that club back without hesitation, carries it over the lane. Right before she hit the shot, Jacob leans over to me and he goes, here it is, the championship on the line, make or break, here we go. I'm like, thank you, Jacob. Go stand there. Didn't need that. She lets go of the shot. And there was a left wind and she draws the ball and it just went straight as an arrow right in the middle. One of the best shots I ever seen under pressure, ever. And she ended up winning the tournament by 2 shots to go with the back-to-back champion. But she gets to the 18th hole, doesn't hit her driver very well. I'm thinking, what are you doing? Luckily, she was the same yardage out with this 4-iron and puts it up on the green and gets a par. But Ellen had the heart of a lion. And really loved the competition. And she loved that fire. And I would put her up against anybody the way that. But a good reason of that is because of Jacob. So, she'll say anything else.
And then we'll let you do the others. Proud man. The inscription reads, Ellen Mortel, Women's Golf, 2014 to 2017. Ellen Mortel rewrote the Wisconsin Lutheran College Women's Golf record book during her 4 seasons with the Warriors, the first Conference Player of the Year in program history. Mortel accomplished the feat in back-to-back seasons to become the 3rd student athlete in Northern Athletics Collegiate Conference history to repeat as championship medalist, a 4-time all-conference performer. The Eden Prairie, Minnesota native dethroned the 2-time defending champion at the 2015 conference championship by 2 shots to earn her first major conference award. 1 year later, she held off the runner-up finisher by 2 strokes to claim her 2nd consecutive Player of the Year honor. Mortel, who boasts 22 career top 5 finishes and 14 event wins, was voted Conference Student Athlete of the Week, a program record 5 times. The 2016-17 NAC Scholar Athlete holds the top 4 season scoring averages in program history, and her 87.1 career scoring average ranks atop the program record books. 19 of Mortel's individual rounds are scattered throughout the top 10 in program history, including a program record 5 over 76. The next member of the Warriors Athletics Hall of Fame, Jim Mortel's daughter, Ellen Mortel.
I told him if I had to come up and give a speech, he had to too. So. All right. Now it's easier when half the room is full of your most favorite people. So I want to say thank you to everybody, because we do have people here from like Minnesota and Ohio and all sorts of different areas of Wisconsin. And I know I appreciate you all coming. It was a little overwhelming for me to see all of you come in the room today. I got emotional twice. I think I've cried like twice in my life, so it was kind of shocking. But I just, like from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate you all for coming. All right. So first and foremost, I want to thank Wisconsin Lutheran College, President Johnson, the athletic department, and the board for this honor to represent WLC, the women's golf program, and student athletes I'm extremely thankful for this opportunity and also to do it by the side of my brother. I know it's very special to me. So, first person that I would like to start off to thank would be my coach, Wally Miller. Man, I just appreciate you coming tonight. He was always the best van driver. Our own personal bellhop, wherever we would stay, this man would not let us carry a bag, whether it was our golf bag, our traveling bag, we didn't do a thing. All we had to do was wake up, eat breakfast, and that man had the van packed in about 5 minutes. So, he always made sure we were fed and hydrated, always running us snacks, always asking us what we wanted, if it was candy, Gatorade, whatever. But for also keeping me super calm and focused on the course, which is a very hard task. If any of you know me, I'm not a very calm person. But also keeping me just focused and well-rounded throughout the whole 18 holes. How he decided to put up with 7 to 8 women on a daily basis, on top of like his own family of 3 women and 4 women, that, I mean, he deserves an award for that in and of himself. We would of course have a great post-round listening of the Dixie Chicks. That was his reward from us for having to deal with us all day. We let him listen to his Dixie Chicks on our way home. But also, I would also like to give a huge thanks to his wife, Renee, who's also here. She gave up a lot of time, a lot of countless weekends and weeknights for her husband to be able to take care of us. And I feel like she deserves a shout out because she gave us the best coach around to make sure that we were taken care of. So again, thank you for sharing your husband with us, because I wouldn't be standing up here if it wasn't for you as well. I would also like to thank the men's golf program and Coach Adam Volbrecht. AD played a big part on why I decided to come to WLC. You know, every time I would go and watch my brother, he would be like, you know, Wisconsin's great. It's only 4 hours away from Minnesota. Or, you know, your brother's here. It'd be a lot easier. You know a lot of people. So he just had a big role into that. Made me feel a lot more comfortable with making that big decision from going to high school to college. And like I said, just the members of the men's golf program for their unending support and allowing me to tag along whenever I needed to. They'd let me go in the band if I wanted to come hit extra golf balls when I needed the extra practice. Or when I also didn't want to go, but they would make me go. Tyler was a big one of that. Dragging me to the range, making sure that I was practicing my putting because short game was not my forte. The men's golf program brought me an unending amount of brothers that God knew I needed because He knew I needed more than just one. I'm forever grateful for them, their wives, their kids, and their families. So another huge person in this process, and quite honestly, the number one reason why I'm standing up here today would be because of my swing coach and my mentor, Rod Leanberg. Rod passed away in December of 2019, but I knew that the good Lord brought him home at the right time. He's watching over both me and my brother while accepting these awards tonight. Rod taught me how to persevere in times of adversity and believed in me more than anyone else. I will always be forever grateful that he saw some talent in a 7th grade young girl who would show up to swing lessons in UGG slippers and hit a total of maybe 3 or 4 golf balls to warm up. And also I had a huge attitude. So he had all sons. So he would always consider me as his daughter, and I had, you know, I was 7th grade, I was 13, I had a huge attitude as I do now, so some things never change. I hope that I made him proud throughout my 10 years of competitive golf. Ooh, and to the next 2 people, my mom and dad. There are no words to express how blessed I am that I have 2 of the best parents that would show up for literally every golf match. My dad missed 1 golf match, and it was because he had emergency surgery on his gallbladder, and he didn't tell me. So his life was literally on the line, and he was like, no, you go do your thing. But they were there for me all through high school. My dad for pushing me the hardest that he could possibly push me to where I would just give in and do whatever he did, or whatever he would tell me to do. They would supply me with whatever I needed to get through a match, or to get through, just to get through any times of adversity. My dad, that club, we went out and bought specifically for that conference tournament, so that was the second time that I had ever hit that club, was that shot that he was talking about. I hit it one time on the range, and it went fine, and I didn't bother to pick it up after that.
Have you practiced more with the golf?
No, I hit one golf ball. And driving endlessly, my parents would drive endlessly across states to make sure that they were there and pushing me to keep going, even when I wanted to give up probably about 100 times. I think every Monday, after every weekend match, I think my mom would get a call from me being like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm terrible. I don't know what I'm doing. And my mom would always be the first person telling you, you're right where you're supposed to be, just keep going. For always believing in me when even I didn't believe in myself. My dad specifically deserves his own highlight for always going to bat for me in any situation, while also instilling in me that all good things come to people who put in the work in silence, which is a lesson that's stuck with me ever since, even after my competitive golf careers. Both of the golf programs here at WLC, and I can probably speak for everybody on both the men's and the women's team, they wouldn't be what they are today without you guys and your guys' support. And pouring into both teams, pouring into both the men's and the women's team, and giving us all opportunities that we could only dream of. We had trips to Scotland, trips to North Carolina to play in golf tournaments and be able to compete, and that's all big reason is because of you guys. Last but not least, Ellen's brother. That's the only time that'll ever be said. I'd like to thank my brother. He's always been my biggest fan in every stage of my life, not only just through my golf career, but also still in my adult life. Jacob is probably the #1 person that I call the most, about every other day, multiple times a day. You created such a path for me. You paved your way through the men's golf program and affected me tremendously. And I just don't want you to ever forget about that. I wouldn't be up here today if it wasn't for you. It was an incredible part of your life to be a part of, and I'm honored to have been able to watch you in matches and support you. And you're always going to be the best big brother. All of our lessons, our range sessions, and our post-match phone calls were some of the best memories and some of the best moments of my career that I look back on, to be able to share that with somebody so close to me and to be so honest with me. A lot of people, that's hard for me to take brutal honesty, and Jacob has such a way of articulating that and helped create the legacy that he is also alive and that we're leading today. I'm so proud to stand up here with you today on the stage with someone that has so much talent as you. There's no one else that I would rather stand up here and accept this award with than to have you by my side, and you'll forever be the most talented sibling. I just want to thank you again, Wisconsin Lutheran College, the athletic program, and the board for this incredible honor and a chance to represent WLC and women's sports and the game of golf. Thank you.
One more round of applause. It's not often that we get props with the presenter, but I think, Jim, you set the new standard here, so future presenters in future years, take note. We continue with the golf theme. Next up, Ellen's brother, who's going into the Hall of Fame next, representing men's golf, Jacob Mortel. To present him is his coach and still the head men's golf coach, Adam Volbrecht.
too. Got to know your resources, you got to use them, and so we had to call on the big guns. All right. Jacob's a really special person in my life, in our program's history, and judging by the number of people that are here. Also, he's made an impact on a number of you as well. So I'm going to go from the heart here, a little bit about Jacob, and then we'll tell some stories, and then we'll get you out of here. All right. One of the reasons that Jacob is an impactful person for me is that he pushed me to be a better coach. For those of you that played for me, and more recently, you know, I still got a long ways to go here. But when word came out from the Hall of Fame committee that Jacob was being considered for this, I might have inserted myself and said he's not eligible yet. You can read on the front inside of the pamphlet tonight what qualifications that someone has. And I put my foot down as much as I could, because while Jacob's playing career had ended, the requisite number of years to be considered for this, he was also our assistant coach the first year after he graduated, which did not allow for him to have the requisite number of years. And I said, it's an amazing honor that he's being considered to go in to our Hall of Fame, but he's not going into our Hall of Fame without the recognition for also being a part of the season after he graduated in our third consecutive conference championship. And the moment from that year that sticks out to me the most, some of you experienced this as players. We're at nationals, we're at the national tournament. We have a tough draw, tough conditions on a tough golf course. Damon, you remember the 10th hole that he started on at Las Colinas, just vanished for the hills. We played really well for about 14 holes. But for those of you who don't know golf real well, golf's an 18-hole round, and 14 holes doesn't cut it. 18 holes is what matters. And I knew the talent we had, and I knew how good of a team we had. And sitting at lunch after the round, I was really bummed. And I wasn't just bummed on the inside, I was bummed on the outside because I knew we missed a really important opportunity to have some success. And I didn't carry myself in a very good way. Jacob said, stop it. They need better from you. For a kid who had just played for me for 4 years, to be in that position as an assistant coach and to try to raise the bar for all of us and to call out his coach for being a whiny little baby, that's the kind of person that's being inducted into our Hall of Fame. And for all of his great accomplishments on the golf course, he's a Hall of Fame person, and that's what I'm most proud of, being up here tonight to recognize. Before I had President Johnson call, every time I called Jacob, he was conveniently in the movie theater. Siskel and Ebert, I don't know what he was doing there, but he's probably seen every movie that's out, or he's giving me a wash your hair excuse. But I knew I wanted this kid to play golf at WLC. Very glad that we also got Ellen out of the deal. Pam, it was also great getting you, and Jim, thank you, too. But every time I call this kid, he's in the movies. So Timmy mentioned, right, like, you never told coach that you're coming. I knew Jacob watched a lot of movies. Or at least that's what he was telling me. So from my moviegoer, that came in and his first season saw a team that finished third in conference, to his sophomore year, our team finished second in conference. In his junior and senior year where we won conference, and his one season as assistant coach where we won conference. That's the impact that he had on our program. That's the impact that he's had on me. I'll tell two golf stories real quick. His freshman year, he finished top 10 in 3 tournaments. That's, Scott, not a Hall of Fame career. That's gonna make him. His sophomore year, he had 2 top 5s. That's pretty good. His junior year, he had 4 top 5s in all conference award. And his senior year was the conference player of the year, which is earned by being the lowest score, the medalist for all 4 rounds, 72 holes. None of this 54 baloney. 72 holes at conference. That trajectory is what we hope for as coaches for all of our student athletes, is that from when they come in to the time they leave, they keep getting better. It certainly did that. Now, Tiger's got a famous moment in the desert playing in the tournament with his ball being behind a large boulder. Tiger knew the rules of golf. And he knew that he didn't have to be the one to move that boulder to hit his golf shot. Tiger had lots of fans out there that were very happy to move that boulder for him so that he could hit a ball straight to the green. Jacob won Player of the Year by 1 shot. That 1 shot might just have been missing the fairway to the right on hole 10 at Stonebridge and finding his ball in a burrowing animal hole. A burrowing animal hole, amongst the many millions of rules of golf, is one that affords you free relief. It's not your fault. You didn't put that hole there. Jacob said, I know this rule, and not only am I going to take my relief from it, I'm going to take my drop and hit the ball really close and make birdie. His playing partners, who may not have been as familiar with the rules of golf, said, I don't know, we better play a second ball and get a rule. Jacob knew. And not only that knowledge, but that next gear to then show them, not only am I right, but I'm gonna make birdie here in your face. Not every golfer is wired that way. Only Hall of Fame golfers are wired that way. It's an incredible honor to recognize you, Jacob, for all that you've done for our program, all of your successes, and all of the impact that you've had on our team and your teammates.
The inscription does read, Jacob Mortel, Men's Golf 2012 to 2016. A pivotal piece to the most successful 4-year cycle in Wisconsin Lutheran College men's golf history. Jacob Mortel became the 2nd player in program history to receive Conference Player of the Year honors. The 15-16 Roger Fleming Player of the Year and 2-time All-Northern Athletics Collegiate Conference selection was in the Warriors lineup for their first 2 NCAA championship appearances. Mortel tied for 5th overall at the 2014-15 Conference Championship. The same season, WLC won its first conference title via a one-hole playoff. 1 year later, he earned conference medalist honors by one shot with a 4-round championship record score for his first career victory. And WLC claimed its second consecutive conference title by a 14-stroke margin. Ranked in the top 10 in conference scoring average, 3 of his 4 seasons, the Eden Prairie, Minnesota native recorded 11 career top 10 finishes. Mortel, a 2-time Conference Student Athlete of the Week and MAC Scholar Athlete as a senior, ranks 4th in career scoring and 5th in season scoring. His career low, 100 par 70, is tied for 4th in program history.
It is my honor to introduce to you the next member of the Warriors Athletics Hall of Fame, Jacob Mortel.
I want to thank everybody. This is really cool. My sister's here, my family's here, friends, family, teammates, ex-teachers, principals, girlfriend mom and dad, everybody. I'm really happy that everybody's here. And to be honest, I wish we could have more people here. I want to thank the Hall of Fame committee for choosing me. It's a real honor. I'm humbled. This class of athletes is Hall of Fame. They're great people. Thank you for picking my sister. Whatever accolades you read, my sister dwarfs in college golf. She was a beast. It's an honor to be a part of this class. I want to thank Adam for the introduction, my head coach. He's a great man, said a lot of good things about me. Adam likes to do that. He likes to sit in the back and watch. But Adam's a great man. He's a great husband. He's a great family man. He's a great leader of the students at WLC. He's a great golf coach. He's a personal friend, family friend. I wouldn't be here without him. Literally, wouldn't be here without him or President Johnson giving me a call. Means the world. And Adam instilled a culture in our program, silently, but he instilled a culture. And recently someone once told me, and it stuck with me, is that culture is like building a house. It takes days, months, weeks, years to build, but it can be demolished in an instant. And that's what Adam was doing. When I was recruited to WLC from Adam, when I took his calls when I was in the movie. wasn't ducking yet. I didn't duck Dan Johnson's call either. I answered that one right away. AB was talking about this team. He was really, I could feel it through the phone. He was excited. And he would come to my events in Minnesota. He drove out to the events in Minnesota. He was the only coach that ever came and watched me that wasn't from Minnesota. And that was big. And he would tell me, "You're coming at the right time. This is a great team. You're going to be a great piece to it." And I believed him. And that's why I came here. And I'm thinking, this is great. We're going to be a winning team. I'm excited. I want to compete. I want to play. Adam asked me, "What do you want?" And I said, I just want to play. I just want to play and compete as much as I can. I don't want to sit and watch. I want to be in the action. I want to play. The next 4 years, Adam played me in every event he possibly could. He actually had to sit me because I had got to the max a couple of years. I always appreciated it. He was building a culture with us silently. We were building that house. We had teammates. We had guys come in. Adam had us always together. He had us at the practice working hard, outside of practice working hard, golfing together, competing hard, being with each other. We traveled together
We played golf together. We did stuff outside of golf together. We were in fantasy football leagues, fantasy baseball leagues. We played intramurals. It was all a team, off-season workouts. We kept each other accountable every step of the way. And I love that. Golf's a great individual game, but you need everyone around you to get you there. When we brought in other players, we had freshmen or transfers come in, they fell in line. They enjoyed that culture. It was infectious among us. We fed off of that. We loved each other. We competed for each other. We kept each other accountable. We knew we'd be ready when the time comes. And when you're in that grind like that, when you're golfing, and you're practicing, you're doing school, you're doing this, you're doing that, you don't really know until that moment hits you. And then at that moment, you're like, this is it. This is us right here, right now. We all knew, each and every one of us are ready for that moment. And that moment for us, we had a lot of golf stories here. As you can tell, we're a big golf family. This is the last one. But I have to say this. That moment came for us in my junior year at our spring conference tournament. Like Adam said, we usually play 72 holes to determine the winner of the conference, who then goes to nationals. Something WLC has never done up until this point. You played 36 holes in the fall, and you played 36 holes in the spring. It was a year-long competition. That year, the fall got canceled due to some fog and bad rain and bad weather. We would have played. We would have finished, so the other teams didn't want to play anymore. We were winning too, and they couldn't. That's not on the sheet. We did good the first 18 holes, and then we had to play 36 holes in one day, which, it was like, oh, you're playing all day. It's hard, okay? It was cold, it was windy, it was wet. And again, we're all there. Brett Morris and Tyler Wood were on the six of us, the five of us playing, but they were there. That's the culture. They were there. We got done playing. Tyler's sitting next to me. Tyler's very smart, a lot smarter than I am. I'm dumb. And I said, he was watching the scoreboard, and everyone's coming in. We're all done, and we just needed a chance. We just needed a chance. And I said, T, what do we need? What do we need? He goes, Mortel, if the last guy comes in at 80 or over, you guys win. And I'm like, oh gosh. I said, this number one kid's a stud. He's going to break 80 for sure. It's done. We're cooked, Sure enough, scores come in, 80. We're in a playoff. We just played 36 holes. And I looked around, and not one of our teammates blinked. It was over for that other team when they announced it, because we were ready. That's the culture that had built. That was our moment, right then and there. Adam didn't have to give us a rah-rah speech. To be honest, we didn't need one. We were ready. We were ready to attack that other team and win this thing. This was it. This was our moment. Every shot matters. We were going to play those 2 playoff holes, wax them, win the playoff, and win the conference for the first time in WLC history. Because of the culture that was set in that program from everybody, starting from Adam and the AD, and everything, but starting from Adam and everyone that was there. That's building a strong house. We're all very proud of that. We won it that year, we go on and win it the next year, and then go on and win it again the next year. A lot of those guys that won it the first year weren't part of the second and third one. But that was the culture of the program. And that's what Adam built. And you see, it's not just me up here getting this award. It's the men's golf program. It's all those guys getting the recognition, because they deserve it just as much as everybody else. And I thank the Hall of Fame committee, but you're missing some great guys. They're awesome, and they deserve it, and I want to be up here to talk about that. I wouldn't be here without those guys. They pushed me as much as I pushed them. We had to do it that way. I have a lot of people to thank, so please bear with me. I first want to thank our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, allowing none of this is possible. Blessed us to come here. As my father said, I don't make a lot of great decisions, but coming to Wisconsin Lutheran College is one of the best decisions of my entire life. I have relationships with people I never want to give up. I have friendships that are going to last a lifetime. I wouldn't change any of it for the world. It means so much to me to be a warrior and to be up here and to speak with, through WLC or with WLC. I wear it on my chest all the time. I'm always sending pictures of Adam. I have all my old golf bags. It just means a lot to be a part of that program, that culture. It's still instilled in everybody. We got teammates over here. We got teammates over here. It means the world to me that we're all here together. I want to thank my parents, Mom and Dad. We talked a lot about you both. Still not enough. It's still not enough, Dad. I was happy you're up here. You're getting the shine you deserve. Because without you, I'm not here. Mom, without you, I'm not here. You always gave us the opportunities to do the best we could. Dad, you instilled in us the hard work, do everything. Mom, you instilled in us the calm and composure. Good things happen to good people. I think everyone here is a great person because of this university. Adam recruited high character people. It's a high character program. It's a high character university. I'm very proud to be up here on behalf of the men's golf team today. I wish they all could know it. I really do. Evelyn said a lot of nice words about me. I love you to death, Ellen. You're the best. But like I said, all of the golf things that I've done up here, you dwarf them. And I'm proud of you for that. You're a beautiful young woman. You're tough. You're strong. You taught me as much as I taught you. You made me tougher. I did get screamed at, but it's okay. Made me tougher. Like Dad said, the Edgewood guys couldn't heard it before. You can't scare me. My sister scares me. I want to thank. I also want to thank my parents. Like my sister said, they never missed a tournament. They were that crazy family. They drove to every tournament. I had teammates saying, "Your parents coming this one again? They going all the way back home tonight?" I said, "Yeah, they're coming." I said, "You better be ready." I was at one more quick one. I lied. One more quick one. One more quick one out, and I'm done. I was in a golf tournament. Shocker, I don't know why I said that. I was playing it, and I birdied one hole. My mom goes nuts. You can hear. If you don't know my mom, you can hear her across the golf course. She doesn't have the etiquette. She's just loud. Okay? Which I love, which is fine. But then I make a 9 on the next hole, and she's just as loud, cheering. And the guy looks at me, and he goes, "Do you like it when your mom cheers when you make a 9? And I looked at him, and I said, "Yes, that's my mother. She's going to cheer for me no matter what I shoot. And that's why I'm out here, for the love of the game. She loves me, and I love her. But don't cry. Don't cry." I want to thank AV and Skip Noon for supporting me in this collegiate career and beyond. I couldn't have done without you guys. Skip, you're the man, okay? Adam, I can't say enough. Adam, again, I wouldn't be here without Adam. He doesn't like to shine, but Adam's a true leader. He's a great man. He's a great person. He's done a lot for me. I coached with Adam. He taught me a lot about how to be a coach. I can't do it. God's blessed him with that ability to do it. I don't have that ability. He's calm. He makes short-term things a long-term thing. That's one thing he taught me. I made a short-term thing. He goes, "You got to make a short-term thing a long-term thing." That's what Adam does. And I have the highest respect for this man. He continues to grow this program. It's not easy. He does it every year without complaining. He grows the program. He makes champions. He has high character guys. I also want to thank all of my golf coaches that helped me to get here, to build me as a golfer and as a person. Ellen mentioned Rod Lingberg. Spent many cold nights in Minnesota working with him, sub-zero temperatures, working through the golf swing, learning the game, loving the game, growing the game. Wouldn't be here without him. Have to mention him, Stacey Christensen. The list goes on and on. I can't thank all those people enough. I wouldn't be here without them. I want to thank the university, WLC. As I said, makes you a better person. It's a great place. All these people up here are high character. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to wear that logo on the chest. It was an honor to coach. It was an honor to compete on behalf of Wisconsin Lutheran College. I want to thank Adam Heinzen. Adam Heinzen, I love you. You're a great man. We read every word. We read every word you wrote. We have pictures in our house of the words that you wrote. It's a thankless job. You do a lot. I just want you to know a lot of your words were the bridge to my family that couldn't be there in those tournaments. You painted a great picture. I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for this event. You're a great man. Thank you. Thank you, Adam Heinzen. I want to thank all my friends and teammates that are here, parents of teammates, relationships I'm going to have the rest of my life. I appreciate you guys. I love all of you. It means the world to me that you're here. I know I keep saying that. I got to think of something else to say, but it does. It does. From the bottom of my heart, thank you, and thank you. You had a ton of other things to do. It's Friday night, way better things to do, but thank you for being here. And when you look back and you're trying to do a speech like this, all I could do was think about everybody else that got me here, because I wouldn't be here without all those people. And I wish all those people were up on this stage and they had to say something too, because that's how they're Hall of Fame. I mean, they're Hall of Fame people, like Adam said. All the people here are Hall of Fame people. I appreciate being with WLC Warrior. I'm proud of it. It's truly an honor, and I can't say thank you enough. Thank you to WLC. Thank you to everybody. And congrats to the 2023 Hall of Fame class. Thank you.
We come to the sixth and last inductee here in 2023. She'll be the 43rd member of the WLC Athletics Hall of Fame, Julie Favorite Robles, representing women's cross country, women's track and field. As I said at the very top, we've heard tonight from coaches, speaking of their former players, from parents, speaking of their daughters, their sons, teammates, a unique presenter here tonight, a classmate, a running mate, and a life mate, like I said at the top as well. To induct Julie Robles, please welcome Chase Robles.
Hello, my name is Chase Robles, and I have the privilege to introduce my wife, Julie Robles, the 2023 WLC Hall of Fame. Julie and I both began our cross country season at WLC in the fall of 2012. Fun fact though, I actually met Julie earlier. She was my pack advisor. She's a year older than me. So I got to talk to her on the phone as a prospective student about coming to WLC. And then the first time we had a early move in, I actually got to meet her. So I got to witness each of Julie's 3 seasons as she grew in her abilities and love and passion for the sport. But I am especially thankful for the warm-ups and cool-downs, the long bus rides to meets, and the team dinners in which our friendship and later our relationship grew. Prior to WLC, Julie had run some half marathons, but actually never ran cross-country or track. To describe Julie as a runner, she's someone who maybe lacks some of the top-end speed that you develop running high school track and cross-country, but can handle very high volumes of intense running. She can endure enough tough paces and outlast other runners. A lot of the time, she brought that intensity in which she would race to practice. There were some easy days that were a lot tougher than what was prescribed on paper, sometimes even running with the men's team. Her work ethic was unmatched. However, what I most admired from Julie's time at WLC was her enthusiasm and excitement for the success of her teammates. Julie's running resume, both collegiately and post-collegiately, is impressive, and her accolades speak for themselves. An all-conference runner each year, and many top 5 runner-up finishes, some wins that finally came her senior season, and an all-region finish at the Midwest Regional, which is the toughest Division III regional in the country. It still is today. I'm honored to introduce Julie. I'm so proud of what she's accomplished, and I'm proud of what she accomplishes every day.
And the final inscription of the night reads as follows. Julie Favorite Robles, 2012 through 2014, women's cross country, women's track and field. Julie Robles was a prolific runner who left her mark on the Wisconsin Lutheran College cross country and track and field record books. An all-Northern Athletics Collegiate Conference cross-country selection each of her 3 seasons with the Warriors, Robles registered a pair of runner-up finishes and an additional 3rd place showing at the NAC Championships. She played an integral role in the 2012 season when WLC recorded its highest finish ever at the NAC Championships and NCAA Regionals, for that matter, placing 22nd overall among 282 competitors at the 2013 NCAA Division III Midwest Regional. Robles became the program's 3rd student athlete to earn all-region recognition. The New London, Wisconsin native recorded 11 career top 3 finishes, including a trio of individual race victories. She owns 5 of the program's top 10 6K performances, including a personal best time of 22 minutes, 28 seconds. Robles tied a program record by earning the NAC Student Athlete of the Week honor 6 times. In 2 seasons of track and field, Robles won the 10,000 meter at the 2015 Conference Outdoor Championships in a conference meet, and a school record time of 37 minutes, 57.43 seconds. The 4-time NAC Scholar athlete also holds the school's 3,000 meter outdoor record, still ranks in the top 3 in 4 other event top 10 lists.
It's my honor to introduce you the next member of the Warriors Athletics Hall of Fame.
Okay, I'm going to start by sharing a little secret. I kind of hate running. Sorry, coach. It's kind of awful. Like, where are we going? My legs hurt. Everything hurts. I'm out of breath. What's the point? And I've asked myself that question, what's the point? So many times in the past decade, times when I wondered if I would always call myself a runner. Times when running brought me so much emotional pain, and I legitimately never wanted to go for a run ever again. Or taking 3 months off, having a baby, and then trying to figure out how to make time for myself. But in all those moments, I always, eventually, wanted to go for a run, and I got myself out the door. People will say, find your why as a mantra to stay motivated for something, and honestly, I don't know if I know why I run. But knowing that, I always come back to it. Until I find my why, I'm gonna keep going. So when Adam Heinzen calls me and says, congratulations, Hall of Fame, my first thought, and I may have even said this, I'm sorry, I think you have the wrong person. And that's so like me to not accept a compliment or to say, well, yeah, but. I don't have my why, but I have a lot of yeah buts. Yeah, but I never qualified for nationals. Yeah, but I was never conference runner of the year. Yeah, but I only won the 10K senior year because Christina Luptak from Aurora was not having a good race that day. Yeah, but I didn't even run cross country my freshman year. I didn't run track my sophomore and junior year. Meanwhile, I'm sitting on a coach bus to and from a meet with people who have poured their heart into all 12 seasons, 4 years of cross-country, indoor track, outdoor track. Other people who had an understanding of and appreciation for the sport far beyond what I have. I didn't actually know what spikes were until the day before my first cross-country meet, and I borrowed a pair from Hannah Shields for a season and a half. Why would you run in shoes that you don't, never mind. Yeah, I've learned so much. But the thing about running is that you don't measure knowledge and you can't measure heart. But what you can measure is how fast someone goes from point A to point B, and that's what I'm good at. And that's why I get to be standing up here. Now, this is not going to turn into an awkward, like, I can't accept this. I mean, it has my face on it. Like, I have to accept it, and I'm going to. But if I'm going to see this in my house every single day, I have to be confident of what it means to me. And that's my therapist's favorite line, by the way. What are you making it mean about yourself? If I just let this slide and if I don't give meaning to this, the devil will make meaning for me, and it will be, you don't deserve this. You're not good enough. You're not worth it. But instead, I'm going to see this award and I'm going to be reminded of a couple things. First, I am good at running. I was then, and I am now. And that's not bragging. Everyone else is saying it, and I'm agreeing, gritting my teeth and accepting the compliment. To deny that I deserve this is to deny glory to the one who gave me this talent in the first place. When I receive praise or recognition for something, I have the opportunity to turn it into glory to God. But if I refuse it, or if I say, well, yeah, but, then in a way I'm keeping that glory from him. The second thing I'll be reminded is the timing in my life of receiving this award, 8.5 years after my last race as a warrior. Okay, so a lot has happened in the last 8.5 years. Some of you know this, some of you don't, but during my college years, I was in great shape physically. I was not in great shape spiritually or emotionally. My why back then was because this is where I'm worth something. This is where people pay attention to me. I wanted to do things my way because sometimes doing things God's way doesn't always mean winning. Doing things my way didn't always mean win either, but I digress. If anyone has ever experienced an extreme rigidity in their thinking, then you know that it seems impossible and unfathomable to ever experience flexibility or freedom in your thinking. So believe me when I say it is only by the grace of God that I not only have, but I am confident in that freedom. That I can run for the pure joy of it. That my times and performances don't define me. That yes, I have an identity as a runner, but also as a wife, as a mom, as a friend. When you're in shape spiritually and emotionally, it's not that the physical doesn't matter or that you have to sacrifice it. There's just room in your heart for so much more. My time as a student athlete laid a lot of groundwork for the really beautiful life that I have today. And when I see this in my house every single day, I will be reminded of that. I'll be reminded of God's goodness and His grace. And I will be reminded that, yeah, I really hate running. But even more than that, I absolutely love it. Thank you.
The last thing I do, and the last thing we have to do tonight, is I'm going to ask our five winners, our five recipients, and Mr. Banquet, if you could, for just a moment, bring your plaque up front, right here in front of the stage. Mr. Banquet, if you could bring yours, Matt, yours, Tim, Ellen, Jake, Julie, if you could just bring yours and pop up here, because we're going to give everybody the photo op of the night. But while you do that, the last thing I have to say is this, and I did it 2 years ago, and as long as I'm blessed to be able to do this, to each one of you, on behalf of the group that isn't here, we've heard from coaches, we've heard from teammates, from classmates, from friends, from family members. On behalf of the Warrior fans, if I can take the onus of the fan on my shoulders, thank you for what you did, for the little things that you did that we didn't see you do. And it's all those little things you did behind the scenes that got you through everything and got you to this stage, this night, any number of years after your last competition. So on behalf of the Warriors fans that watched you and came out to a match, a game, an event, thank you for what you did and the enjoyment that you gave all of us. With that said, if I could have all 6 members congregate up front, this will be the photo op of the night. We have a great backdrop there. You're welcome to take photos after. That said, ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming the 2000